Hey there, I'm Neil. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the host and producer of Pause and Rewind, the podcast that chats to changemakers, thought leaders and role models who all share a common goal. They're striving to make the world a more inclusive place. And, let's face it, we need it. Each guest has a unique story when it comes to doing their thing, and we often know who people are in the now, but how much do we really know about them? Pause and Rewind takes a moment to explore the experiences, realisations and relationships in my guest's life that led them to where and who they are now, because everyone loves an origin story. We'll dive into tales, anecdotes and a little of what makes our guest tick. So whether you're here for insights or inspo or simply want to know about your heroes, this podcast is for you. You might never know someone's story, but if you pay attention, you'll hear it, you'll see it and you'll feel it. So, are you ready to pause and rewind? Hey there, and welcome to this episode of Pause and Rewind, where I am chatting to someone that I have so much time and love and respect for, and that is Saba Ali. Saba is an award-winning consultant and advocate when it comes to a broad range of expertise, everything from working with marginalised groups around intersectionality, race, gender, violence against women and girls, cultural abuse, and she's worked extensively with organisations such as the Met Police, the Crown Prosecution Service. She also she's a volunteer for UK Black Pride as their Safety and Met Liaison Manager. She's the Interim Chair for the Banned Conversion Therapy Coalition and the LGBTQIA network lead for the Royal Society of Arts. Phew, she also does a lot of DEI work, and I get to work with her personally and have many conversations and see Saba in lots of different places. Saba shows up, and you know, if you're a listener of this, you know how much that's something I strive for, and I have to say that Saba is the most consistent, engaged, and supportive human. She really is. She's constantly championing everyone and uplifting others. I was super excited for this conversation. It's a long overdue one. Saba and I, as I say, get to chat on lots of different occasions, but really I'm so excited to dive into her origin story. And yeah, it's a tough one actually. There's some tough themes in here around cultural abuse, around childhood trauma. So please do take care of yourself whilst listening. But yeah, it's been a joy. This year has been quite a year for Saba, as we talk about during the intro. But there's lots in here. Enjoy and let me know what you think. Cheers. Hey there, my wonderful friend Saba. It is so good to see you as always. Welcome to Pause and Rewind.
Hi Neil. I'm really excited to be here. I've been waiting to be called, to be summoned.
Oh. Well, I love that we're having this conversation, and we get to have many conversations. So I always love being in your company. And I'm going to start with a question that I ask all my guests, and that is, what does the world look like for Saba Ali right now?
It's a really simple question, so I should be able to just answer it. A multitude of things. I've got so much going on at the moment. In a nutshell, happy. I'm happy. I'm going to keep it really simple and short.
Happy is a great place to be, and there's been a lot going on. You know, I'm gonna dig into some of that happiness right now, because there's been some really joyful shit going on in your world right now, right? So where should we start? Should we start with UK Black Pride, just having celebrated 20 years?
Yes, yeah, we can do. Oh, I love UK Black Pride.
Same. What a day, right?
Oh, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I think it's about a 16-hour, 17-hour day when you kind of do it from the minute you wake up to the minute you get into bed. So it's a long day. But I just love UK Black Pride. And obviously, you can't mention UK Black Pride without mentioning Lady Phil. You know, two go hand in hand. But the whole team is such an amazing group of people. And that's what I always say to folk when they say, well, what's so special about UK Black Pride? Or, you know, what sets it out from the others? I think it is the fact that you've got Lady Phil, who just leads with so much love and compassion and care, not just for the team, but for the community and for every attendee, you know, trying to go out of her way to speak to every volunteer, try and speak to every stallholder. but also, you know, the team, we really support each other, are there for each other. And just the community vibe, having that space, it really is a safe space. The amount of people I've spoken to, or I spoke to on that day, that were like, you know, it's amazing. I can just come and be Black, proud, and know that I can be whoever I want to be in this space. No one's going to judge me. No one's going to look at me, and I can just truly be my authentic self.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful place to be.
It is a beautiful place, you know, as someone that is there as a volunteer, as an ally, as an absolute fucking cheerleader for what you and the team do. Like, it's
Extended family.
absolutely, and it's such a beautiful place, and just it is an event fueled by love. It's definitely one of my favourite Pride events out of two, that and London Trans Pride, my two favourite by far. But no, have you all had time to decompress? Have you managed to kind of get together and share how you thought it all went?
We've had our little chats, and we'll have our kind of proper debrief, and we'll all get together as a team, and we'll meet up in person. That's to come. But yeah, I think it took me about a week to kind of get over it. But there's still a part of me I'm still looking at pictures and getting excited, and I think that will still be in me for a while, because there was something really special about this year.
Yeah,
It just felt extra special. And I think the longer you do it, because I've been doing it for a few years now, the more you get to meet the regulars, the more you get to know the sort of people that are there every year. And it feels like coming home every year.
yeah,
It's really
yeah.
nice, just like a big reunion.
It was my fourth year in a row, and I just love it. Like, it's just it's home is it. Home is a great word. It's just really, really is fueled by love and community and solidarity. It's beautiful. And then obviously cannot have this conversation without talking about the recent tribunal win for yourself and the wonderful Eva Echo. For those listening, are you happy to give like a brief overview of what it is? Because then I think what I'd like to tap into is the importance of other people not losing sight of the significance and how monumental this was, if you're happy to share an overview.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for asking. So me and Eva, wonderful Eva, my partner in crime, we were invited to speak at the Met Trans Day Visibility event back in March 2023. We'd done it the previous year. It was absolutely fine. We had a great event. It went really well. And we've done quite a few events with the Met to raise awareness, especially for the trans community, because there is a real lack of trust and confidence. And we really want to bridge that gap, because you can't have a lawless state, and we need the police to be supportive of us and look after the community, especially the trans community, with the amount of hate going on. So we did the event. And at the event, it was a bit weird, because in the middle of the event, we were told that there were a couple of people outside, actually, with a camera and a video, and wanted to try and get some of the speakers. So actually, at the event, we were a bit like, it was a bit weird. I guess had to leave through the back entrance of the Scotland Yard. And then sort of a few weeks later, we both got, I got a letter, and I was mentioned. We both received a letter saying that Women's Rights Network had written a complaint about us both to the Met and to the Crown Prosecution Service, because we both sat on the hate crime scrutiny panel for CBS, saying that, why the Met using activist speakers and sort of just kind of putting us down. And, we didn't, it wasn't very nice. And We Are Fair Cop jumped on the bandwagon. And Maya Forstater was quite active as well. Yeah, she started following me, and I remember saying to Eva that this is really weird. Why the hell has she followed me? So I quite quickly blocked her. And I spoke to the Met, because obviously they'd written and complained about using us. And the Met were like, "Look, you haven't done anything wrong. You've come in as guest speakers." I made a formal complaint. I got an apology from the Met, that, we were harassed. We didn't really think much of it. And then earlier this year, sort of literally about 10 days before the tribunal, we were both, I mean, I've missed a chunk out of the amount of abuse we got on social media at that time, back in March, April 2023. We were like trolled a lot online. And both of us made our social media accounts private for a period of time. But sort of coming forward, we got an email from the Met saying that you're in a witness bundle. Your names are mentioned in the witness bundle because an employee has taken the Met to court over that event. Now, we knew that the information had been leaked, obviously, because that's how Women's Right Network and Fair Cop had, got hold of our names, but we didn't know who it was. We just knew it was someone that watched the event online. Obviously, the employment tribunal meant that we now knew the name of the individual. We didn't know if she was a person that leaked the information, but we knew that she'd made a complaint. And as it transpired, I was actually going to go to the court case on the first day because the key witness is somebody that I know and I really like. It's a trans man who is absolutely amazing. The work that he does within the Met to support the trans community is second to none. And this is why I kind of struggle sometimes not to be completely anti-police, because I've got to know quite a lot of LGBT, especially trans officers in the police who are really, really decent people. Out of uniform, you wouldn't even know that they were policing because they're really working for the community. So I was going to go and we spoke about it and we decided that I would probably stick out like a sore thumb in court because, being a woman of colour, having a shaved head covered in tattoos, if I sit there in court, chances are if there was press or anyone, they'd recognise me and my pictures from social media. On the first day of court, my full starter was there and she actually filmed the video, so thank God I didn't go to it because I can't imagine how that would have been. But as each day panned out, we were literally spoken about almost every day in court. And the focus was very much, we were basically used as scapegoats and talked about throughout the court case, why are you employing these people? Why are you using these people? Throughout the court case, they dead name, I don't think they dead named either, but they did dead name the key witness in the media, which is just, and there was actually an injunction against that, I believe. But they completely misgendered Eva throughout the court case. They were misgendering other officers, and the person the claimant who brought the case to court, she's still an acting solving detective in the Met. She in court said that she believed trans men are women and trans women are men. So I have a formal complaint going on at the moment anyway, because I have issues with the way that case was dealt with and how we were dealt with. So I can't go into that because it's active. But the fact is that we were absolutely ripped apart in the media. Before the court case on the Friday night, me and Eve were both approached by a Telegraph journalist. Now, with court proceedings, normally you're not allowed to do any press interviews or be contacted by journalists until the Monday or after the first day of hearing. So the fact that we had a journalist approach us means that someone had leaked the information of the court case to the Telegraph. So we were approached. And it wasn't just the fact that we were approached. At the time, I was the trustee of an LGBT charity, and the journalist didn't contact me. He contacted the charity I was the trustee for, copied all the trustees on that email, and said, wrote it to me saying that, Saba, you made a comment about X, Y, and Z. Can you tell me how you feel about this? Because I'm going to be writing an article on Monday. So it was almost kind of defame me, but also copy all the trustees within that email as well as the CEO. And nothing came of it. Oh, in fact, it was I referred to gender critical people as screaming banshees. That was it. But do I still stand by that statement? Yes, I do stand by that statement. I do think a lot of them are screaming banshees, and put that on record. I have no qualms about that. But it's the tactics that they use. It's like to really intimidate you, to really scare you. But some of the things that came out in the court case, like for me, was they disclosed how much money they're doing community engagement work that had absolutely nothing to do with this court case.
Yeah.
Which was like any consultancy work you get paid. It had nothing to do with this. There's other stuff they disclosed, but some of the tweets and information, they accused me of being anti-Semite, which I have no idea where that came from. They made it. There was a lot of Islamophobic comments against me, which I don't know where they came from. There was a lot of kind of angry Black woman tropes. There was a huge amount of racist tropes. There was even a disability comment made against me, and I was like, where the hell did that come from? So it's just constant defaming of our characters. Like I said, even got the brunt of it being a trans woman. But I think the thing that was really disappointing for us was that we were completely defamed. That we had to deal with a lot of malicious communication, but we didn't get any support from the Met. And I think that's the thing that really disappointed me, is that, we've worked with the Met for a number of years to build that trust and confidence. And we got one email 4 days into the court case, just literally the words were, "I'm just checking in to see how you're feeling," which just isn't good enough.
No, that's wild.
So, yeah, it was a crazy time, but I've got to say thank you to Trans Pals, who were amazing. They, kept an eye on all the tweets and covered the court case every day, fed into me. And of course, Lady Phil was amazing. I spoke to her. I was really transparent about everything, and she was just really supportive for me and for Eva, just checking in, making sure that we're okay. And I did also sort of speak to Linda as well to get some advice around the court case, because I know she's had to deal with this kind of trolling herself. But it's not a nice place to be in. The court case was only supposed to be a week. It went on it went on for that week, but it also went on for an extra 3 weeks, but only 1 day a week, so it lasted a month.
And that must have been a bit of a blow for you because of the amount of work that you've done with them.
Yeah, I think that's what hurt the most. And I think hurt's probably the right word. I know it sounds a bit kind of not childish, but I was really disappointed because I've put a lot of effort in to try and build a relationship between the community and the police. And then to know that you're just literally discarded and there's no care or concern or safeguarding in place for you, it's not good enough. And actually, Farah, I can't remember her second name, who's the sound of her Centre of Prevention for Violence Against Women and Girls, I think she put it really well the other day when she said that it's not good enough for institutions to bring marginalised voices in, expect them to do the heavy lifting and then just discard them when they've got what they've wanted. There has to be some accountability, and I think that's a key word there. They have a responsibility. If they're going to call us in, then they need to make sure that there is some protection in place. And if, the work that they're doing means that we get attacked as a consequence, they need to be there to provide us some solace or provide us a care and aftercare for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that's not provided, and especially when you're going out on a limb as well, for you, like knowing you're an integral part of the community and you're going out on a limb and working for them, knowing how much they are disliked by the community, and then they don't protect you, that's a bit of a slap in the face.
It's not good enough. I'm going to just quickly try and find what she said. I think especially as women, as marginalised women, both of us are, non-white, we're part of the LGBT plus community. We both have hidden disabilities. The fact that, you get invited into that space to talk about something, here we go. I think it's, that, you can't expect someone to come along, speak, and then just kind of discard them. And I think it shows, I think in the words of Farah, it shows how superficial the rhetoric of inclusion can be and how disposable those doing the real work can be and continues to be. And that's not just for us. I think that goes for anyone else. And her words were, you cannot claim to stand for safety while abandoning those targeted for speaking. You cannot invite marginalised voices and then stay silent when they're attacked. You cannot build trust through fear. And I think that's really important. It'd be a bit like we create space. If you invited a speaker to come along and then we got ambushed afterwards, after doing an in-conversation or doing a session with you, there's no way you or JP would just leave that individual to rot on their own, while we're having a meltdown or while we're, suffering and our mental health is suffering. There's absolutely no way you would show compassion and care.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that was missing. And I think for me, it's also really disappointing because the work that I've been doing with the Met, it has been declining, and the reputation of the Met when it comes to the LGBT plus community and marginalised communities isn't in a good place. And this was really an opportunity where they could have stepped up and shown their care for LGBT plus, for trans people, but actually they didn't. Instead, what did they do? They set up a Gender Critic Staff Association.
Yeah. Gosh, it speaks a lot, and you're right, it is a problem across the board. We see it with Pride events, we see it with things like Notting Hill Carnival. We see the not just the attacks, but we do see the lack of support and the vilification and all the different elements combined. We really see it. The good news is that you won the tribunal case.
Yay!
Which is amazing in itself.
Good.
How did you feel?
Do you know, when it first started, I remember speaking to the key witness and saying to him, do you know what, I think we're going to win this, because it was such a stupid case. You're going to hear me say stupid a lot.
I know, I'm here for it.
One of my favourite words, sorry. Actually, no, sorry, not sorry.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And even the judge dismissed it in so much as without saying that she's stupid. But it was very much a 50-50. I think the thing that people were fearing is because it was very much based on Forstater's own tribunal, which she won, employment tribunal that she won, everyone thought, oh, they'll probably win. But to me, I was like, there's just no way this case can win. How can you stop a trans day? I mean, basically, the claimant wanted the Met to stop the Trans Day visibility event taking place in the Met. So she wanted to ban that event ever taking place in the Met again. I mean, the chances are that event will never take place in the Met again anyway. It didn't do last year, and it probably won't again. I just can't imagine it. But how can you ban an event? And not only that, but she went to that event. It wasn't a Met event. It was a staff association event. She went of her own will. She didn't have to go. It'd be like me turning up at a far-right event or a Nazi event. Why would I go when it's everything that goes against my principles? It's just so idiotic. It's unbelievable. And then you think that you're going to take that to court and say, well, they shouldn't have done it. It goes against, it hurt my feelings. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It's stupid.
Yeah.
So we heard the judgment. The judgment came out, I think, on the 25th of June, if I'm correct. And then she had 42 days to appeal. So it was a bit like, oh, gosh, having read the judgment, there was no way she could appeal. I mean, she would have been even more of an idiot if she'd appealed. But you just don't know, because some of these people are narcissists and they do think that they're above the law. I've got freedom of speech and I can say whatever I want, but you over there, you'll do as I'll say. But we won, and it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Because this wasn't about me and Eva, and that's one of the things that both of us keep wanting to stress, that this isn't about either of us. This is about the fact that the gender critics, which this case was very much led by Sex Matters, who've won every court case so far, who get involved in every issue that comes up. Sex Matters are at the forefront. But to know that they had lost this court case is massive. To know that Maya Forstater stood there gloating on day one, and now, you know, she's lost, is just huge. We knew that mainstream media wasn't going to cover it. None of those papers are going to cover it. The Times, the Telegraph, the Daily Mail. They're not going to say that, you know, A, that the Met's won a employment tribunal, or B, that the trans community are free to do as they please. So it was, for us, it was really important to get that message out, because at the moment there is so much disinformation and vilification and trying to erase the trans community, that we really wanted to get that message out there, that actually Sex Matters have lost this case. This is the first case that they've lost, that's been lost in the UK. So that's a massive win within itself. Yeah. But also that the gender critics don't always get it right, that they can get it wrong. And actually, if we really believe in ourselves and we sort of follow the law, we can win. And
we absolutely can.
Yeah, that was really important to us.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest lesson to take away from it, is that we are on the right side of history and the law.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, amazing, and it is beautiful to see it being picked up now. I've seen it being picked up more and more, and it's brilliant to see people talking about it. And it's a love letter from you and Eva to the community. That's one of the ways I see it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I mean, honestly, thank you so much to you, Neil, and JP and Juan, because you all had faith in me and Eva, and
always
you listened to us, and that meant so much to both of us. So really, you all.
Absolute champions of you both. And another piece of good news that I'm going to shout about, because it was a highlight of my year, was seeing you recognised back in April at the Diva Awards for the inspirational role model of the year. How did that make you feel?
Oh my gosh. I just got like little butterflies. Amazing.
It was a moment.
Do you know, I've been joking about it beforehand and like saying to a few people, I better bloody win. Just joking. And I remember speaking to Maud. I love Maud. She's absolutely amazing. Maud doesn't get enough praise. Maud Gobler from Micro Rainbow. Oh my gosh, I nearly got it wrong. She'd kill me. Maud and Lady Phil are like my two. I just love them. I remember saying it to her and a few other people, and I remember Roxy saying to me, it was Megan saying to me, "What are you going to wear?" And I was like, I hadn't really thought about it, but when I think about it now, I'm like, okay, so these people knew. It was just amazing. I really didn't expect it. There's a lot of work I do that people aren't aware that I do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I share a lot of what I do with Lady Phil because I run a lot of stuff past her. Working on your own means that sometimes you need to make decisions, and sometimes they're big decisions, and I don't like making them alone. So I like to run them past someone that I trust and I know will be really honest with me. And I know that will also be very thoughtful of the community and the work that I'm doing. So I'm kind of really lucky to have those people around me. But yeah, it was amazing. I can believe it because it happened.
Good. But, and you should believe it. It was beautiful.
It was amazing to be recognised, and I'm really grateful. I don't know who nominated me. I still don't know. I don't need to know, but I'm really grateful to that person. And it is nice because I kind of do this work full time, and I guess I do a lot of voluntary stuff. a lot of unpaid stuff. So to be appreciated and recognised does mean a lot.
Well, as bloody well deserved as well. Saba, I am so excited to dive into your origin story with you, and I know a little bit about it, but I'm excited to get even more in there. So, with that, are you ready to pause and rewind?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Take me back. Tell me all about little Saba.
So little Saba didn't have the best start to life. Sadly, I was subject to childhood trauma and cultural abuse. So I actually have no recollection of the first sort of 9-10 years of my life. So that's completely blank. I have a few little memories, but they're not good ones. So we'll leave them out today. Yeah, little Saba struggled quite a lot. She tried to run away. She spent a lot of time in a fantasy world. Spent a lot of time daydreaming of how she wanted her life to look and how she wanted to be. So I spent a lot of time in my own little world, which is probably why I'm spend half my time in my own little world today, but in a happy way rather than a sad way. Yeah, so she went through a lot. She suffered the abuse, went down the wrong road, and stepped over a lot of obstacles in her early life.
Yeah. What did you make of the world? What were your first thoughts about the world, having gone through such a traumatic time at such a young age? What did you make of the world?
I had a lot of anger, and I wasn't a very happy person, and it didn't make sense to me. Like, all I used to think about is that, why me? What have I done wrong? And I beat myself up quite a lot. I was very insecure. I didn't know what love was. I had, I looked for it in the wrong places and in the wrong things.
Was
And
that from a young age?
yeah, from a young age, probably until my kind of early 20s, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was school like, with that as your backdrop for home and then having to navigate life at school?
Well, I saw my first therapist when I was 15.
Okay.
I was on Prozac around that time. So, yeah, therapy started quite well. Actually, no, that first session was awful. I went with my sister and it was terrible. But school, I went from sort of being really good at school to kind of being really crap, because I just lost all heart. And every school report said, if she put effort into it, she could do better. I have no idea how I passed my GCSEs or how I even passed my A-levels. I did start uni, but I dropped out after the first term. I absolutely hated it. And that was partly because I was forced to go to university. I didn't want to, because my mother was my perpetrator and she wouldn't let me go to uni. I wasn't allowed to go outside of London. So I was 18, still stuck at home then. And I ended up just I didn't go to, I think I went to one lecture in 3 months, and then I just dropped out altogether.
That's some harrowing stuff to go through. Did you have any support in the background?
Not really. I just spent my whole time getting high.
Right.
That was my support.
Again, from a young age.
Yeah. So drugs were my kind of support system, and I used drugs to kind of as a form of escapism. So I kind of got into the wrong crowd quite early on.
And did anyone try and intervene and take you down a different path, or were you just kind of left to get on with it?
I was kind of pretty much just left to get on with it. I had like a Saturday job. We had Saturday job back in the day.
I know, I had a few. What was your Saturday job?
Oh my gosh, my Saturday job. I used to work at Freeman Hardy Willis.
I love that.
That's really showing my age, on Wimbledon High Street. Um, and then in those days, like, telemarketing was massive. So I used to work like evenings doing telemarketing. And then that kind of became my sort of part-time, full-time job from the age of about 18. So I pretty much went from doing that to that, and I would work, get high, work. I mean, it's crazy. You would like have a spliff before you went into work. It was, lunchtime. You'd go out to, I can't remember, Dundonald Park, I think. You'd like smoke a joint, go back to work. I mean, it was nuts. I don't know how I managed. I don't know how I did it, but we did it.
And were you still living at home
At
at
that
the time?
point, yes. Yeah.
What was the first break from that situation? What was the first breakaway moment?
Well, I tried to run away from home when I was 15 and it didn't really work. I got caught. But then basically my drug use just really escalated to the point where I became an addict. I was using quite hardcore drugs. And by the age of 22, I was kicked out of home because of my drug use. I also got into a lot of debt because of my drug use. So I kind of maxed out credit card, checkbook. We had checkbooks then as well.
I remember those too.
And I was 22, kicked out of home. I was sofa surfing, and then I was still, don't know how, holding down a job. And I remember a woman at work sort of marched me down to the council and said, "This is crazy. I'm taking you down to the council. You can't live your life like this." And in those days, if you were using drugs or drug abuse, you got like priority housing. So I got put into emergency bed and breakfast, emergency housing. Then I went into halfway housing, and then I got put into council housing. And that's sort of, 22 was when I got out.
Is that, with that person stepping in, how do you feel about that person now?
She was called Pauline. I can't remember her second name, but I can still picture her and see her exactly as she was. Which I think her and the number of people that have helped me on the way is why I do what I do today. Because I've had a lot of people reach out and help me along my journey. She was a complete stranger. She didn't have to do anything for me, but she helped me. And even when I was using, I remember I was in a crack house once, and I just remember this man who saying to me that you shouldn't be here. This isn't the life for you. And having a conversation with him. It was quite a deep conversation. But I've met a lot of people along the way that have just so little nuggets of, information or seeds of hope, I suppose. And I think, it is today that I realise if it wasn't for those people that reached out, I wouldn't be here today. I'd probably be either dead or in jail. One of the two. In jail for drug use, not for, killing someone. I don't think I've got that in me. I can't even kill a spider or a fly. But, so I think for me, it's those people mean so much. And I think that's why supporting and helping people and making sure that other people don't go through what I went through is really important for me, helping the younger generation, helping those that have a difficult time in the house or in home because of culture, because of tradition, is really important to me.
Almost, I can see so much how it informs how you show up in the world, your love of people and helping people, and fighting back against unfairness and injustice. Going through all that, and when did life start to turn itself around once you moved through, halfway housing through to council housing? Was there a turning point that you thought things are getting better for me?
Yeah, I mean, started having therapy. I mean, I've had therapy on and off since I was 15, so I've
Same.
had decades of therapy. I'm a true advocate of it. I think it's finding the right form of therapy as well. You know, what works for one doesn't work for another. So, yeah, I suppose my turning point was probably more, I rebuilt relationships with my family. I think the turning point was probably in my early 40s when my mum died, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because my entire life, my mum never told me she loved me, never hugged me, and to see her treating my brother and sister who were from her first marriage very differently to me was quite difficult to watch at times. But, and even up until sort of towards the end of her time, there was still part of me that because she'd never validated me, never said that I was good enough, there was always a part of me that felt that I wasn't good enough. But her death was kind of like a release to that. It meant that actually I don't have to, the person that thought I wasn't good enough isn't around anymore. So I don't have to live up to anyone's standards anymore. I don't have to be, I tried so hard to be who she wanted me to be at times, but it didn't matter what I did. I was never good enough for her when I was at home. So I think that's why I just suddenly went from one extreme to the other. So yeah, I think my early 40s when she passed away was like a really pivotal time for me.
Were there any moments of closure with her where you got to, for maybe throughout your life, maybe not just around that time, where you got to tell her the impact of her behaviour?
Yeah, when she was close to dying and we knew that she didn't have long to go, I did have a conversation with her and I did speak to her. And that was partly my sister's doing, because my sister was always like, look, you've got to speak to her. You've got to have closure. I don't want you to kind of have any regrets. I don't want you to have any unfinished business. And I'm really grateful to my sister for that, actually. And I've got to thank my sister because my sister stuck through me throughout through thick and thin, throughout my whole using, throughout my detox. She was there for everything. She didn't understand a lot of that. She's the complete opposite to me. She's, really prim and proper and amazing. But she was always there to support me. But, I kind of thankfully did take her advice and I did have closure and I did say a lot of things to my mum, how I felt. And I think having that last conversation really made a difference for me.
Mm.
So I've had that closure. So I have absolutely no regrets at all.
Yeah.
And I think, I've learned that, I don't have to forgive her for what she's done, but I can move on.
Yeah. Did she offer you any accountability, apology, any form of words that brought comfort, or did you just take from it what you needed, rightly so?
No, she had dementia towards the end of her life, so there was, she was kind of clueless most of the time, who anyone was.
Yeah. I ask as someone, as you know, we've had conversations about upbringing before, and I just ask because for some of us, we just don't often get that accountability that we need, and and I think you have to come to your own, as you did, your own kind of acceptance with the situation, and that is that you might not never get the apology or the comfort that you really, really long for.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough one because, like I said, I've never had a mother in the sense that my own mother never told me she loved me. She never hugged me. She was never nice to me. But I've come to accept that, that is who she was towards me. She had her reasons. I don't know what they were or why they were, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I can't let that kind of ruin my life anymore.
Yeah.
I've already lost, a lot of time because of it. And I'm just grateful that today I've got the most incredible people in my life.
Yeah.
And I know that today I'm loved by individuals. And, like I said, I have an amazing relationship with my sister, have a great relationship with my brother as
I was going
well.
to say, I know you talked about your brother before as
Yeah.
well, and yeah, I think
So,
you've spoken about how different you are to them, and I
yeah,
think that that's part and parcel of being the queer one in the family, right? Is that we are these black sheep that fuck knows how we turned out, but we did.
yeah,
But it's great that you are on a beautiful level with them now.
yeah, yeah, we get on really well. I mean, we have regular kind of get-togethers where, their kids we all meet up as a big family and have lunch together, and, we celebrate each other's birthdays, and we have a lot of
Lovely.
family get-togethers. So, we really are a family, we really
Yeah.
support each other. Like my nephews and my niece are all amazing. I speak really openly as well. I've
Good.
never shied away from my past. I've never hidden anything. The boys have asked questions in the past, and I've always answered honestly. I don't believe in sugarcoating what's happened to me. I don't believe in lying at all. Because the reality is that actually my life turned out amazing. So, and I've been able to use my trauma to actually help heal other people
Yeah.
and as well as heal myself. And I'm still learning every day. And, I've never forgotten my roots. I've never forgotten where I come from. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning. I still make mistakes, which I think is really important. Not important to make mistakes every day.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
not kind of think that I'm cured and that's it.
No, I mean healing is an ongoing journey, right? Particularly when you've come from trauma, and you've carved and created that life for yourself as well. I think when you've gone through that and you haven't had the support networks around you, you do get to pat yourself on the back a little bit more and have that pride that you did that yourself, and you brought the healing and created the world that you needed. What does the ongoing journey of healing look and feel like? I know obviously chosen family and community is a
Yeah.
massive part of that for you.
If I'm honest, I kind of live each day as it comes. I was having this conversation yesterday with someone that I don't tend to project anymore. I don't have like a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. And I have been known to say that, if I dropped dead tomorrow, I wouldn't have any regrets. I've done all the things I want to do. I mean, I travelled loads in my late 20s and early 30s. So I've kind of done the travelling thing. I raved like a lunatic when I was younger. So I've done the kind of crazy clubbing and warehouse raves and, partying for 24 hours. So, the future for me is really simple in some ways, in that I'm quite happy to just take each day as it comes. Whatever it brings to me, I'm just grateful for every day. And the simpler the day, the happier I am,
Yeah,
if
that
I'm honest.
simplicity is so underrated along with contentment. I think we underestimate the importance of those. I mean, I'm with you on the lack of a 5, 10, whatever year plan. Like I think when you work in the circles that we work in and do a lot of freelance work, and it doesn't mean that you lack drive and ambition, but it means you just work in a totally different way and you see what opportunities arise and you let that flow. I think it's really beautiful. Your career is quite niche, it's not just in terms of freelance, but in terms of your speaking and the consultancy that you do. What did you think the goal was?
I have no idea. If I'm honest, I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I spent over 20 years as a PA, personal assistant, and like I said, after my mum died, I kind of decided in 2015 that I would go freelance. I spent 10 years in my last job, which is at Royal Academy of Dance. I've done 10 years there. And I was like, okay, 10 years is a really good time to stop, because there were people that have been there like 20 years, 25 plus years. And I was really comfortable in my job. I loved it. But I thought, I don't want to, be a slave to my job. I don't want to just be stuck in it. So I decided after 10 years that I'd resign, and I had enough to kind of give me a 6-month window to just sort of see how things were if I went freelance. And it just so happened on the day that I resigned, we had an event actually at the Royal Albert Hall, and I used to chaperone Wayne Sleep, who's a British ballet dancer. One of our, I still feel like I work there, which is one of the RAD's vice presidents. And I remember speaking to him, and he was like, oh, look, I'm looking for someone to come and work for me. I would love you to sort of, be that person, because you know the ballet world, you know me, and it's a really fluid transition. It would be great for me because I don't need to teach you anything. So that was in the November. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll get in touch. And I never thought I'd hear from him again, because he's sort of up here and I'm down here. But he did in January. He got in touch with me and we started working together. And I spent 5 years working for him. But in the middle of it, I was doing other sort of voluntary stuff and bits and pieces. And it was through him that I met people like Scott and Triss. They did an interview with Wayne for Gay Star News. And we did some other stuff around the gay scene, like from his life and stuff that he did. And I learned a lot about the gay scene actually from Wayne and his adventures and things that he'd been up to that I probably would never have known. Some of them I probably won't ever repeat. So that was really interesting. And I always knew that I was kind of drawn to that world anyway. And while I was at the RAD, I spent 10 years as PA to the artistic director. And she was actually the landlady to April Ashley. So because her name was Lynn Wallace, and because Lynn travelled worldwide doing workshops and putting on ballet productions and things, it meant that me and April became quite good friends. And so I sort of reunited April with Wayne. Wayne used to hold an annual party, and I kind of got to know April and learn a lot about her activism within the trans community. So I feel like organically, the work that I'm doing today has just kind of organically happened. I got to know April really well. It's a shame my memory's so bad, because she told me some absolutely fantastic stories of like when she had a restaurant and holidays she went on and people that she met and some of her activism. And that was amazing. So I kind of left full-time work already with connections in the trans world, in the LGBT world, but obviously ballet, there's a lot of connections with the LGBT world anyway. A lot of dancers come from, a gay or lesbian or bi or trans. So there was already an introduction, and that just kind of developed over time. I started doing voluntary work. A friend of mine suggested I should be a trustee for Gallup. The position came up, so I did. I applied for that, became a trustee for Gallup for 3 years. I just did one term, and it just kind of flew from there, really.
That's amazing. What a journey into inclusion as well.
I've been really lucky because it meant very early on, especially being a trustee for Gallup, meant that I got to meet so many people within the community that I probably wouldn't have met very early on in my kind of sort of start of 10 years that I didn't. And then obviously when COVID hit, there was Clubhouse. I don't know if you're familiar with Clubhouse.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so it was the online where you had like different rooms where a bit like social media, but imagine like WhatsApp, but you've got like people, groups of people looking after rooms. So Daniel Lismore set up the LGBTQIA plus allies room. And then he introduced me to Linda, and Linda set up the Diva community room. So I used to run a lot of rooms for Daniel, and I used to run a lot of rooms for Linda. So that also meant that I opened up a whole load of connections and people for me during COVID. At the start of it was right at the start of COVID, so back in about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, I used to do. I think one of what was one of the main events we did was after the what were they called, the board resigned from Pride in London.
I remember that.
We did a big round table on Clubhouse, and I think I moderated that round table. It was hosted by Daniel and Linda. I think I moderated the conversation, and I think there was over 100 people on there, but it was all the kind of peers of the community were on that room. So I got to know a lot of people. But that was got to know a lot of people through that. Then obviously through Linda's rooms, I got to interview a lot of big names through that. So I just naturally made a lot of connections, got to know a lot of people quite early on.
I mean, that's just an example of making it happen, though, right? Because like you, I'm a huge advocate for volunteering and the opportunities that it's brought to me and the way that it has enriched my life through the people that I've met. know, so and COVID was a turning point for many of us in this space in terms of having an engaged audience. It really changed the course of my career, actually, that period of time for me too. And I think it's the same for many of us in this space. I'd love to know, is there someone who shaped you the most along the way? Perhaps either in your earlier journey or perhaps in this, when you first stepped into this space?
Oh, there's probably a few people. I think, Daniel obviously introduced me to a lot of people, so I need to acknowledge that. And actually, I met Daniel. It's really weird. I met Daniel through managing Wayne's social media, which is really bizarre because Daniel's mum is a massive ballet fan, and I used to manage all of Wayne's social media. So I ended up speaking to, and Daniel and Wayne were friends. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So that's how I got to know Daniel, and he has introduced me to a lot of people, and he's always been really supportive of me. I guess Linda has introduced me to a lot of people as well, and been very supportive of me and kind of given me some advice along the line. I can't remember what the phrase is, but along the way, to keep it simple. Definitely Lady Phil.
Mm-hmm.
She is a huge anchor for me and a huge support, and probably one of the most important people. Well, she is the most important person to me. In that, like I said, I can go to her and ask her anything, not just UK Black Pride related, but related to my work, because a lot of my work is focused around the Black and Brown community. So she really supports that. And obviously that I do a lot of work around violence against women and girls. So, I might get her to read something if I've written something. I think a lot of people aren't aware that UK Black Pride, we have our Pride event, but I also sit on the Alliance for Police Accountability as part of UK Black Pride. So we regularly have meetings around that, holding the Met Police accountable, holding the police accountable for how they treat our community and, the LGBT plus community. But also as interim chair for the Ban Conversion Therapy, I sit on the coalition as UK Black Pride. So it's it's something I've said to, feel that we really need to kind of let people know that actually UK Black Pride does a lot more than just Pride.
So much helps. So much help.
Which is, so for that reason, I go to Phil quite a lot for those things, and she reads a lot of the stuff that I might write, or some of the speaking gigs that I do are around policing, sometimes are as UK Black Pride, because we want to make sure that when there's an event taking place and they're talking about policing the Black community, that they include policing the Black LGBT plus community, and that to me is the LGBT plus community. It's really important because our voice always gets left out, and it can't.
Yeah.
We have a place and we need to be seen and heard. And I think the other person as well, I mean, I can't not mention Eva, because, me and Eva have worked together for about 4 or 5 years now. We started, I don't even know when we started working, but we sat on the CPS scrutiny panels together. We've worked at the Met together. We've done so many round tables and panel discussions together. And it's such a beautiful working relationship. We both just pimp each other out for work. And a lot of work that we do joint, we'll just speak for each other. And it's that joint trust that we know each other so well that if Eva says something, I'm just like, if Eva said it, I'll do it. That's fine.
You're on board. You do have a beautiful friendship, working relationship as well, but a beautiful friendship outside of that. And I know I've heard you both big each other up on separate occasions, and it's it's really wonderful to hear.
It's so lovely, because I think one of the things, well, I mean, there are some egos in the community, let's be honest. Let's have this conversation. But it's so lovely to kind of work with someone that there is no competition.
Yeah.
There is no ego. There's no like, I want to say this bit and I want to do that bit. And it just flows between us. And when we do like sessions together, or we've done roundtables, or we've done a lot of talks together, we just know when to let each other speak, or know when it's each other's, whoever knows better about something.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to have that connection with someone.
Yeah. You're both amazing, and you both, I love it when seeing you come together. My final question for this segment is, looking back so far, what are you most proud of to date?
I don't really think like, oh, I'm so proud I've done this, or I'm not really that kind of person. I'm pleased with a lot of things that I've done. I think my proudest moment is probably that I've had a cat for 12 years and I haven't killed it.
I don't get. I mean, I have a dog and he's 12 next month, and I feel the same. I'm surprised I'm here. Never mind the dog. Like,
I don't really think like that. I don't think, oh, I've achieved this and I've done this and I've done that. I'm just not that person. It's really, I suppose this year, I mean, if I take this year for example, I guess my 2 proudest moments would probably be winning the Diva Award and winning the court case.
Yeah. You're definitely allowed to feel pride in both of those things. And, a testament to your hard work and the way you show up in the world.
Thank you. I'll take that.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And I know so many other people are as well. I'm proud to know you. The House of Happiness is London's ultimate sober clubbing extravaganza. We're led and delivered but created for all, whether teetotal, sober curious, or just taking a booze snooze. We love a day rave, and on a Saturday afternoon you can expect banging house tunes, DJs on decks, dancers on podiums, and a fully stocked alcohol-free bar. Flamboyant, bold, with a glitter station to boot. We're all about safe, inclusive fun, and we even have a pre-meet so that you can make new sober buddies before you hit the dance floor. Grab your tickets from Instagram now at House of Happiness Official, and we'll see you on the dance floor. Are you ready for some quickfire questions?
Let's go for it.
Okay, here we go. What album, book, or movie has had a lasting impact on you?
Do you know what movie? I'm going to go with movie. The movie I've watched 27 times is Taxi Driver.
Okay. What is it about Taxi Driver that you love so much, in a few words?
I think it's the psychological impact of it. And it probably correlates more to my younger years than today, in that complete frustration of trying to be somebody and not being recognised or seen for who you are, and having to go to extremes to be recognised. And that that catchphrase in there, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
What do you think you're looking at? It's that kind of thing where it's, you get pushed to such a point, and that was my younger years, that I really thought I was invincible. And in some ways, I actually had, I'm not going to say who it was, but I had this conversation with someone that in some ways my younger years and going to the extremes that I went to has actually probably toughened me up so much for who I am today, where I can tolerate the hate and the ignorance and the bigotry that I've had to face.
But you definitely shouldn't have had to.
Yes.
But it does serve you. Those experiences do serve you in ways that you later become grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the saying you live by and one that you'd put in the bin?
So the one I live by is people are stupid, which is my response to everything, like all the time. People are just so stupid. If they just kept it really simple and just didn't overthink or didn't think about themselves all the time and just kept things really simple. Life is really easy if you want it to be.
It can be. It can be.
Even in difficult times, break it down. What would I put in the bin? Probably anything transphobic goes in the bin.
For sure. 100%. 100%. Put the turfs in there with it.
Yeah.
What's been the best adventure of your life so far?
Probably finding myself.
Okay. Do you think you found yourself, or are you still finding?
I'm still finding bits out about myself. When I came out a few years ago, I remember I've always known I'm queer, and I know I've always known that I'm on the edge. I think I had so much to deal with elsewhere that wasn't my focus, if that makes sense. And then a few years ago, a while back, I came across the word abrosexual, and that's how, if I had to give myself a label, I would use.
What is that?
Abrosexual, it basically means that you're almost kind of fluid in your label.
Okay.
But I didn't realise, because I hate labels. So job titles, label, any sort of label, I just hate it. And I think that's because even from a young age, I hate being pigeonholed, because I was always told you're stupid. Maybe that's why I hate that. I just don't like labels. It's like, just do and be who you want to be. And why do we have to be so confined? And I think I also really think outside the box. I'm not academic or scientific. So for me, I like that freedom to think and not be controlled in the way I think. So yeah, abrosexual is just very fluid in your way of thinking, that you can just change how you feel. You might be one way for 10 years and then wake up and think, actually, I'm this. So it just gives you that freedom to be. And then Libby asked me to help her with the Bi Plus event that's taking place this Sunday, Colours Hoxton, 31st of August, just in case this comes out later, which it probably will. You can cut this all out. And I just never really, I saw the word abrosexual, I saw the meaning, I was like, oh my God, that's me. It really resonated. And I think one of the first two people I told were actually Linda, Phil and Eva. So they were like straight away, oh my God, I found a word, this is me. Although I still use queer because I like queer in its other context, quirky and a bit different. And then when I was doing some stuff this last week, I didn't actually realise that abrosexual sits under the Bi Plus umbrella. So I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. And then I went through this whole rabbit hole of looking at abrosexual. I had no idea it has its own flag, it has its own icon, like symbol. There's so much to it. And I was like, oh my God. Like, so yeah, finding myself, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Do you think your life would have been different if you discovered that sooner?
I wouldn't want it to be.
Okay.
Because I don't want to change. You know, I have no regrets. Even all the shit I went through in my childhood, I wouldn't change anything because it's made me who I am today.
Good. The Saba we know and love today.
Yes.
What 3 words would you use to describe you and your origin story?
This is the one that I get stuck on.
Uh-huh. You're not alone.
Back to that ego pride thing, I'm not very good at describing myself. Although, having said that, I would always say defiant.
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 It's a good word. It's a strong word.
Yeah, 100% defiant. Like, I don't back down. I would say compassionate. Honest.
Yeah?
It's not the best word in the world. I can't say not stupid because that's 2 words.
You can, but I define compassionate, honest. I think something you said earlier. There's very much a sorry, not sorry in there as well.
Yeah, maybe humble instead of honest.
Humble. Okay, I think those work for you. Absolutely, I can see those. Do they come in any particular order?
I'd probably say defiant first.
Yeah.
I think I've defied every odd that's been put my way.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Same.
Yeah, you know, from the minute, you know, I when I first went into recovery, I worked 7 days a week because I was in so much debt and I had no money. And I remember, I like I said, I was in a lot of debt, and I remember my brother's words to me were that he could pay my debt off. And his exact words to me were that you know, what you owe for me is a piss in the ocean, but you have to learn, and I'm not going to make it easy for you. Which I know a few people have said that that's really mean of him, but actually it's not, because I learnt from that. And, you know, I don't have an issue with that at all. And I think he's made up for it in many other ways later on in life. And at the time, I probably did need a kick up the arse, to be honest.
That's fair. I think it's, you know, we all do at some point.
Yeah, and I did work 2 years, 7 days a week for 2 years, and then he did pay off my debt.
Fair. Well, you know,
so
you proved yourself, like, you know, that, yeah. Let's fast forward a little bit. What exciting things do you have coming up?
So I have a few events with the RSA, which is the Royal Society of Art. So I'm their LGBTQIA plus network lead. And we have some exciting events in October and November. So I'm in the process of planning those. And we've got Trans in the City Gala coming up. So I'm looking for that. Then we're also looking for a permanent chair for band conversion therapy. So do I apply for it? Do I not? Do I let go? And yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what's coming up. I just, I'm manifesting. I'm always looking for new work, new opportunities. So who knows?
Hit you up.
Yeah, basically. What am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to everyone who's listening to this offering me a job.
You heard it here, people. You heard it here. What brings you joy?
2 things, I think. One thing is probably just having a really simple, boring life, despite what people think. You know, heaven to me is just sitting on my sofa with a book and my cats around me.
I know you love your cats.
I love my cats and I love reading. Oh my God, reading is so underrated. People read books.
Do you
Stop
like a
reading
physical
stuff on
book?
the phone. Sorry?
Do you like a physical book?
I read on my Kindle because as you get older, your eyesight starts to dwindle a bit and I like a bigger print.
Fair.
So Kindles are good for that, which is a shame because I wish there were other formats available. But the other thing, I actually love speaking. I love my speaking gigs
Mm.
and I love doing spoken word. So I just love speaking. I get so much joy out of it. I never thought I would. But I love any opportunity to speak, whether it's speaking on a stage, whether it's like speaking on a panel. I just love using my voice. And it's not just using my voice and me drearing on about something, but actually sharing my experience, sharing my knowledge and empowering other people.
Yeah.
You know, sharing my, I said to Shah the other day, I'm 53.8 years old. I have a lot of knowledge. I've been through a lot in life. And if I can use some of that wisdom and knowledge and experience to help others, to guide others, I'm up for it. I think it's really important in this day and age that we share that information. We don't hold on to it. I love collaborating with people. My black book's kind of open for most people. I say most people because I'm not going to be used. That's why I said most people. But I'm always happy to kind of help, guide and support people. I mentor as well. So that's what makes me happy, seeing other people flourish and other people succeed.
Yeah, whenever I've seen you speak on stage, it is about empowerment. It's really shines through. Do you have any practical takeaways for anyone listening wanting to carve out a career in inclusion or create an inclusive space?
I guess first and foremost is make sure you're fully inclusive as an individual. Check in with yourself, make sure you love every part of yourself. I know this sounds a bit cheesy, but I have seen and heard and met a lot of people that are not fully healed that go into this work. And, sometimes I just think, oh my gosh, you really need a hug, or, you probably need to get some help before you start on this road. So I think, yes, start with yourself first. Make sure you're healed. Make sure you're in the right place and you're mentally strong enough, because you don't know when you're going to start dealing with pushback or comeback or hostility. Keep learning and keep educating. Any opportunity. I mean, you see that I'm always on one of your webinars or
You really are.
Especially as someone who's self-employed, any opportunity I get to sit on a webinar, do some learning, do some educating, I do. Because, the community isn't stagnant and the world isn't stagnant. We keep moving forward, things keep changing. So it's really important to keep up to date with knowledge.
Yeah. So
I think that's really important. And I think the other thing is, don't take it too seriously. It's especially when you're doing activism work, it's important. I'm not saying it's not, but don't take it so seriously that it starts to kind of claw at you as an individual. You've got to take time out to stop, take time out to have breaks, make sure you've got people around you can talk to, you can check in with, those kind of little things. I said to someone yesterday, I could tell that they were exhausted. And I finished a call early and I said, look, spend the next 10 minutes just staring out the window, looking at the sky. And I said, I know that might sound really crazy. I said, but, those things are really important when you're working in this field and in this work, because it's not just mentally draining, it's emotionally draining, and we're holding that trauma in our body, so it's physically draining. And when you're doing it 24/7, because even though you might have a 9 to 5 job during the week, you're still carrying it in the evenings and the weekends.
For sure.
So it's really important to take time out to stop and have fun and enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My final question for you is this. Do you have any words of encouragement or wisdom for anyone out there to help them get to wherever they're going?
Don't be stupid.
Boom. I love that. I don't know why I expected anything else.
Oh gosh, that's not
No, it's solid. I mean, it's solid, right? Just don't be a dick.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I should come up with something really profound. But
You don't have to.
that sums up who I am, doesn't it?
Saba, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I do love the time we get to spend together. I love seeing you in person, online, and just the way you show up in the world is so, so beautiful. And I'm so grateful to you.
Thank you so much. I've loved this. I could talk to you forever.
Same.
It's so chilled and relaxed.
Oh, well, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for always showing up the way you do. And I can't wait to see you soon.
Always here for you now. Like, you do so much as well. Don't underestimate how valuable you are to the community.
Right back at you.
No, hold it. Keep it.
I can't stop laughing at Saba's belief that people are just so stupid, and it's really hard to disagree with that, actually, especially when it comes to the bigotry and the bullshit that we're seeing in society right now. And Saba shared in detail about the tribunal that her and the wonderful Eva Echo won recently, and yeah, people are stupid, and it just makes no sense. But yeah, Saba is so just wonderful to chat with and be around. I love hearing about the fact that despite what's going on across the world for the LGBTQ plus community, that Saba's able to describe her world as happy, as she surrounds herself with incredible people, community, and amazing voices, and the work she does, and living her life day to day. Again, the last episode touched on this as well. The need to be strategic isn't for everyone. Not everyone has a 5-year plan, and Saba believes in living life, keeping the future simple, and taking each day as it comes, when it comes to life, when it comes to her plans and her ambition, and her healing as well. It's been quite a healing journey for Saba, and finding that closure that she needed, due to the relationship with her mother and that cultural abuse, and how she's found a way to work through that. And I think it was really important when she says the quote, "I've never shied away from my past. I've never hidden anything. I don't believe in sugarcoating what's happened to me, because the reality is my life's turned out amazing." And how she's able to use her trauma to help heal other people as well as herself. And she's still learning every day. And again, Saba shows up to learn. She shows up, and she wants to support and uplift and amplify. So Saba, I'm so grateful for this time with you. I love hearing you speak. I love speaking with you. And I can't wait to see what's around the corner from you. Hit Saba up if you would love to work with her. She would love to hear from you. I will share her contact details in the show notes, her social media or LinkedIn. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Please do like, subscribe, share, comment, do all of those things. I really appreciate them. They help take these conversations to a wider audience. These stories deserve to be heard. So thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more amazing guests on Pause and Rewind. Cheers.